show up and they go, and now you have to sketch every roof. I'm like, what's a sketch and how do you do it?
It's a pretty sophisticated piece of software, to be honest. You have to know how to use the tool in order to get the most out of the tool.
As soon as he showed me that, I was like, oh, this could be.
Adjuster TV, when you know, you know.
So you think you could just wait until a deployment comes along to apply for this or that license? Think again. When staffing major storm events, these days IA firms will search their adjuster rosters by who has that license. So if they have a huge storm in Minnesota and you don't have a Minnesota license, you're not even going to show up in that search, which means you're not even going to be called. Fact, the busiest adjusters have the most licenses. Get a discount on your next licenses at adjusterpro.com using Adjuster TV at checkout.
Both of us started with State Farm, and they gave us Xactimate, they gave us computer, they gave us camera, they gave us printer, they gave us phones, they gave us all the ink we needed, all the everything that we needed, chalk, whatever it was, they gave us all that, which was kind of cool, except for me, because all I was a storm chaser. At the end of my first year, I think I got done at the end of October. And I didn't work again until next August. And so when I went out, by the time I went out on the next storm, Xactimate had already changed something.
Yeah.
This was 2005. And I'll never forget in 2008, to your point, it's infinity better because you know things. I was smart enough, because I have a smart wife, to create cheat sheets for everything that State Farm wanted. So their ECS system, all the rest of that stuff. I was able to, I had a binder, I called it my storm binder, and it had everything that I needed to do because I was so far in between storms. And then it was either 2008 or 2009, 7-8 months I'm not working. I show up and they go, and now you have to sketch every roof.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what's a sketch and how do you do it? But I didn't pay any attention until I got out onto that storm.
Yeah.
And so what I learned around that time was I better keep up on what's going on, what's happening in the industry, what's the major changes. Maybe State Farm, they told us the first year I started, they said they were going to change their ECS system and modernize it, and they're still using the damn thing. It's a DOS-based system.
Right, yeah.
Right? So, the things I think, besides our stories, it's super important to, while you're there, the day you take an extra day before you leave, and make sure you write down all of those things that were important learning things that you learned on that storm.
Yeah.
And just put them in a binder. Right? They don't have to be great. They just put them in a binder, have cheat sheets. So when you go out the next time, you've got some reference material to come back on, and your learning curve isn't so great as it is all the time. I think nowadays a lot of people won't buy a whole year subscription to Xactimate. They'll just buy the 3 months that they're on storm or something like that, which is what it is for saving money. But you better, the month before, get Xactimate hooked back up before storm season and figure out what's new and because Xactimate changes all the time at this point.
The #1 resource for damage identification books, trainings, and certifications is Hague Education. Not only that, but they provide building inspection and desk adjuster trainings and certifications for those as well. Get a discount on all books, tools, certifications, and other trainings with code AdjusterTV at checkout at hagueeducation.com. I didn't create a sketch in an estimate until 2014. So the companies that I was working for the longest time, I got kind of basically pigeonholed into one company, which was great for a long time because I got to know all the managers, and their system was I could do it in my sleep. It was, and it was a really easy, very simple. I loved it. And then they kind of had a leadership change at the carrier, and they wanted to go a different way and use their own CAT team and stuff. So that went away basically. So then I somehow managed to get on with another IA firm that was still doing some stuff in another state with that same carrier. And so I went and did that same carrier with those guys. And to our conversation previously, we were talking about the carrier guidelines well, the IA firms have their own versions of the guidelines, right? So there's the hard and fast rules from the carrier, but then there was like this particular IA firm, the first one that I did 14 years with, all with the same carrier, didn't care about sketch. They just wanted to, and maybe I got away with it because I had been doing stuff with them for so long, but I was really good at drawing a nice, neat, clean diagram that was proportional and everything else. And I'm pretty proud of those. I mean, I drew some pretty complex roofs just by hand, while I'm up on the roof, just, measuring and diagramming as I go. This company started kicking my files back. I've turned in those, right, with the file, and they started kicking them back. Hey, where's your sketch? I'm like, it's in the photos.
What's
like,
the sketch?
Where it always is. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And
I
like,
sketched it myself.
Exactly. And they're like, no. We need your sketch. How can you write an estimate without a sketch? Was what one girl said. And I was like, well, you don't need anything. All you just need is some numbers. And
Yeah.
you can write the estimate. Anyway, so they wouldn't let me turn in files without Xactimate sketch. And so I crash course myself into using sketch. And then I got to where I kind of liked it because it made an even neater and cleaner diagram. And you could just throw a macro on it and it filled it all in, right? So I gave myself a crash course in using sketch on the job. So I wasn't losing like productivity because by then, I've been an adjuster for like 17 years and or 16 years or whatever it was. And I was fast. I have just, I knew what I needed to get out of a storm in order to make it worth it. And having to learn sketch from scratch was a hit. So
Me too.
So, that was but I'm a big proponent of it now. Obviously, XCT and everything. And it's come a long way. I mean, they've made a lot of improvements to it, and it's
Big time. It used to be if we had one slope was 20 feet and the other slope was 10 foot, we had to take two gable roofs and line them up because it didn't have the brake tool where you could actually drag things out when it first came out.
There's only one company that provides E&O and general liability insurance solely to the claims industry, and that's Kaplik. They even have drone and cyber coverages. Download the free guide all about the different kinds of insurance that you, as the adjuster, should carry at cplic.net/adjustertv.
Same thing on my first storm. I'm learning sketch while I'm running claims at the same time at night. And it was interesting because I went out with a re-inspector probably 2 weeks in. I went out with a re-inspector and he's sitting in the truck with me and he goes, and you can just hold this and drag this and a whole roof extension comes out. I didn't know that. I was making two roofs and trying to stick them together all the time. And I still would write all of my numbers down because for all those years, right, we were like, I got 8 faces, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and how many square feet is each face, and then divide by 100, come up with squares and all the rest of that stuff. So that whole storm, I still used my 10-key calculator to figure it out. But I was stuffing, and as soon as he showed me that, I was like, oh, this could be great. And I paid for Xactimate after that storm so I could figure out that program. And I stuck my nose in that program for about 2 months, just playing with all the buttons and pushing stuff until I really understood it and could actually make it happen.
That's pretty powerful. I mean, when I became an Xactimate certified trainer, you go through like a train the trainer thing and you got to be a level 3 and all this kind of stuff. And one of the things, talking to the Xactware guys, Xactimate in the pricing, and I know a lot of contractors gripe about the pricing, and I think some adjusters do as well, but it's pretty accurate. And it's kind of like, like a bow or a gun. The bullet's gonna go exactly where the gun's pointed. If you don't know how to point the gun or aim it, it's not going to go in the right place. You're not going to hit the target. Right. So you have to know how to use the tool in order to get the most out of the tool. And there's a lot of it's a pretty sophisticated piece of software, to be honest.
Very much so.
And so it's
which is why it breaks all the time.
Right. I don't have too many problems with Xactimate crashing. I mean, maybe with when you've got like a bunch of cloned laptops and
right?
there's gonna be
You clone 25 at a time.
my one versus like 25 guys or 9 at a time or whatever it is. So exactly how much can adjusters really make? Find out in this next video right about here, and subscribe right here.